Hey guys, so we are on our second video with regards to marriage. We thought it was quite fun answering certain questions that was posed to us. So we also asked some questions to some of our friends out there, and we picked three couples. The first is someone who is newly married.
So my name is Joshua, and this is my wife Carmen. We have just actually been married very recently in December 21st last year. Now it's April, so we're coming up to almost 4 months married.
The next one is a couple who's been married for about 2 years, now preparing for their first child.
Hi, I'm Jimmy,
And I'm Michelle.
and we've been married for
2 years and 9 months.
awesome.
And finally, the last couple is someone who has been married for a very long time.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Michael. We are married, I think, let me count, 38 years.
See, in our busy lives as a couple and then eventually, with a family, one of the major things that gets thrown out of the window is actually deep communication. Aside from telling each other what to do, the more we talk to each other, the more we will know each other. And so in this unprecedented time that we're living in and lots of storms to weather, we decided to ask some questions to these couples to find out how they manage conflict and resolve conflict in times of difficulty.
Yeah, so we first asked them whether are they more similar or different than each other.
Different.
I think I'm very Chinese and up in culturally very Chinese and very traditional. Not strictly traditional, but in the sense I grew up in a Chinese family, so it is a lot more Chinese culture.
I come from a very mixed background. My mother's side will have high tea, but my father's side will be very traditional, where you have to call everybody before you sit down and eat. But obviously, from the way we talk as well, you can tell that I'm more Western inclined than he is, even in our taste buds.
Yeah, I prefer Asian food or simple Asian food, hawkers mainly, but
I don't mind a nice chicken roast, lamb, that chop, that kind of stuff. Yes. But also in personalities, we are quite different. I'm much more the rhino, if you know what that terminology means.
yeah. So in that sense, opposite in that sense, I'm a hedgehog.
We're going to cheat a little bit in the answer, okay? We're going to say both, because we both certainly have quite a few similarities. I mean, both of us are introverts. We dislike really large crowds. We prefer...
We like to be alone.
Yeah, we like to be alone. We are perfectly fine not seeing anybody. If we meet people, we prefer quality time, smaller groups, interaction as opposed to large groups. But also we are different in a sense. For me, spending time would mean very action-oriented, meaning to say that, okay, I carve out my time, I sit down, we do activities together, stuff that we like, whether it's watching TV or stuff like that, and 2-3 hours may go by and I'm probably ready to call it a night already. So I'm very action-oriented, very doing. Whereas Carmen...
Yeah, so I am more like when we spend time together, we have to talk. So even if we do things together, like, you just watch series together, and then by the end of the night, you say, okay, time for bed. I'm like, but we didn't even spend time together, because we didn't really talk. So I needed that quality conversation. We needed to share our hearts, our feelings. I think in that sense, how we communicate is a bit different.
We are definitely more different than similar from each other.
Yeah, in terms of even our personalities, she is a lot more introverted. I'm more extroverted, and our jobs entirely different. And she likes reading. I don't like reading at all. I only like reading non-fiction stuff, not really fiction. but she enjoys the fiction and does not enjoy the non-fiction. And what does he think of?
Yeah, I think it's really our personalities that are quite different now. He likes the attention, but I like the depth. So he's very good at he's very good in public settings with like parties. He's really good at that. But I will probably be better in a one-on-one or in a party. I will still find myself being drawn to one or two people, and I just have deeper conversations. But he's not so comfortable with that. But he likes being able to be the life of the party and go around and find out everyone's names. So I think that's also reflected in how we approach life as well. I think a bit more as well. Yeah, so we are quite different, but we are also similar in, I think, our core values. So I think that's what keeps us together. It's that we love God, and we also prioritize family, and I think our interests somewhat do overlap, so that helps a lot as well. So really our personalities are different, but in the things that anchor us to life and give us purpose and meaning, it's quite similar.
I think we enjoy being different also. It's like too similar. It'd be quite boring.
So similarities bring us together and differences help to complement each other. It's just like a puzzle. No two pieces are the same, and if they are, they wouldn't fit. So don't try to make the other person like you. Instead, thrive on your similarities and look for the differences so that it can help to grow you as a person as well. Not everyone speaks the same language when it comes to love. You may have heard of what the 5 love languages are, and if you have not, very simply, they are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch. And so we asked the 3 couples what their love languages are.
I think Josh one is more acts of service. Like you said, it's very action oriented. Acts of service and probably touch as well, I think.
100 points.
Yeah.
for Carmen, her love language revolves also around service. She also loves to do things for me, but the way that she does things, I would say, are more word-based. So words of appreciation, these 2 things combined together. So she's very good at stuff like, writing notes for me, or cards for me. I just have no idea what to put on cards for gifts for her, but I can do stuff, I can buy stuff, but so that would be her more natural love language.
I always tell him my love language is all. You need to do everything.
I think Elizabeth is very more on the touch, time, and a bit sometimes occasionally gift as well. Words and gift as well. I think she almost everything that she would like in. Yeah, but I know definitely she loved the touch a lot more.
Michael is primarily acts of service and time. Yeah.
I think it's a lot of discoveries through a lot of trial and error, and sometimes a lot of tantrums as well. So there's the things that I didn't know anything about love languages when we got married. This concept of love language didn't come in until maybe 20 years ago, or 10 or 20 years ago, I don't know. We were married 38 years ago. Before that, we just
mother-in-law.
We just got married and stay married.
No such thing as premarital counseling. We didn't have that, but we had the Bible to help us. We had God to help us. Praying together really helped, and just having to learn from the Holy Spirit, who was the best teacher and guide, But yeah, it was pretty much like that for us at that time.
I think the fact that we want to stay married no matter what, that things help us in our early marriage life.
Jimmy's natural love languages, especially for giving and receiving, I think, are both our time and acts of service.
yours is word of affirmation and gifts. It's not easy to receive in the other person's love language. I think because you really have to really put yourself in the other person's shoes and see what she's really, see what the other person is really thinking. For me, because she used to give me a lot of little notes, a lot of gifts, and I that's not my love language, so I didn't receive it well, and then when I don't receive it well, then she thinks that I don't love her.
Because he just tosses it.
No, I don't. I keep it in my wallet. Okay.
The early days, you would just toss it, and then I'll find it lah, like on your drawer, in between the,
It's not just words of affirmation. There's so much more to it. It's not just gifts. There's a lot of thought process to getting a gift as well. I think then after knowing all of that, then I start to receive in her love language as well. I think definitely won't be natural, but you have to learn how to receive in the other person's love language as well, because her natural inclination is not to mine is time and acts of service. So it's not natural for her to do that. When she does that, then you know that it's really not natural for her as well, and she's really thinking about you.
I would say that there's been a bit of a melding a little bit, in that he now writes me little notes, but not much effort lah, just pen and paper, but still he will write me the little note, and then he will put it, like he'll just post it, stick it up somewhere for me to find when I come home. And he also places a little bit more emphasis on gifts, because he knows that I appreciate that. Whereas for me, I now prioritize him by giving him time, so I try not to be distracted by other things, and just give him time, and also acts of service, like whenever I feel like he can be blessed, like breakfast, because now I'm at home, I can wake up and cook him breakfast, so I do that. So I think we found a way to, because I think it's important to love, because not important, I think it's natural that if you love someone, you would want to love them in the best way that they know how to receive it.
So if you don't really know your spouse's love language, we suggest you to find out. Just Google up and download a test and do it, and then love one another deeply with the love language of your spouse. So marriages grow stronger, not just through love languages, but also through storms and challenges. So we wanted to find out how these couples in their marriage resolve conflict.
There's good conflict as well, and we learned very early on that it was quite important to know how to manage conflict, mainly because the children will learn from you how you deal with conflict. So one of the things that we discovered with our differences, which we didn't know the terminology, now we do, but was basically to try and pick the right time.
Coming home. So in that sense, we have adjusted our time. The morning was a very good time. So a good time that we can talk. I do not like to discuss things after 11 or 10 or whatever time. I prefer just to go to sleep. That is my way of relaxing.
The other thing that we found very important for us was to separate the issue from the person. We may disagree about an issue, but that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the person that we're speaking with or dealing with. So we tried very hard not to take it personally, whatever we're disagreeing on, and just work at it. And to bear in mind that we're actually having a common goal. I mean, we do have common goals. That's what but it's more the outworking usually. Yeah.
And there's also the management of difference between a male and a female in that sense. That we male tend to be task-oriented. In that sense, we tend to want to solve a problem. We want to solve, when she issue emotional discussion presenting it as a problem, I want to solve that problem, but She doesn't want to solve that problem.
I just want him to listen to me.
So I have to learn that quite a way. I have to really just listen and reflect and just do not provide solutions.
But I can say that now in our marriage, we have a lot of patience for each other, a lot of grace for each other for now lah. But hopefully it will last, you know.
I think conflicts have been part of our relationship even before we were married. And so our lessons that we learned in terms of conflict management and the whole area of conflict and communication, I think started for me even before the marriage. One thing that I feel is really important for us is the fact that we need to come to a point where we can actually process and deal with the source of conflict. Why do I say that? Because I mentioned both of us are quite introverts, but the other thing is that both of us are similar in the sense that we like to avoid conflict, and when the conflict does happen, we would rather not talk about it. It's like we would rather it be invisible or it solves itself, but that's very naive thinking lah. Maybe you can attribute that to being newlywed or whatnot, but we have learned quite early on that there's no such thing. The earlier you address it, the better. And but it's really teamwork, because both of us like to avoid it, so both of us have to come to some sort of middle ground.
My part of the teamwork is I will have to force myself to say actually what's bothering me, because as introverts, you know, when there's a conflict or when you're upset, you just tend to keep quiet and you don't really want to talk about it. And you know, as a girl, I think as for me lah, sometimes when I'm upset, I keep quiet and I just expect him to know, you know, like, what's wrong with you? He will just ask like, you know, is there everything okay? What's wrong with you? Are you upset? Did I do something wrong? But no, he never does that. For him, if he sees me upset, he will say, okay, I'll give you space. You come talk to me when you are ready.
Because that's what I would want, you see. So I thought if I appreciate that, she would appreciate that too. But that's me being naive and not understanding the differences between the two of us.
So we compromise. I would try my best to really say why am I upset. Sometimes it's just find the right time, you know, that we are okay, we're not stressed, we're not doing anything. Then I'll just say, you know, yeah, what's bothering me and all that. Then usually he will be quite receptive as well.
Well, lately what we have really agreed on, or we have well discovered, is that we choose. We have to really choose the time of our arguments, and when to really dive into certain issues.
Yeah, like so really it's about choosing the time and prioritizing the argument. Like if the topic is not urgent or not very important, then we have to find the best time to talk about it. So if that means delaying it a little bit, then we try not to jump the gun and just do it in the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
But instead, because we found that when we wait, especially if it's not very urgent or important, when we wait, we can actually talk through it very quickly, because we are both very calm and we're rational, and we are also looking out for each other. So it's much easier to resolve conflict then. Yeah.
As a couple, one of the greatest things that keep the marriage alive is when we have fun. And so we wanted to know what different couples did to keep their marriages alive.
But we do enjoy traveling, meeting up with friends in a certain extent, a bit of food now and again. So we do eat, we do enjoy our food.
So breakfast was very much a main feature in the children's younger days. And that's something that we've continued even till today in wherever we can. But also we do our devotions together around breakfast time. So that's been something that's been quite something we do together.
Our class is the other thing that we enjoy together. Definitely, that is one thing we discovered lately, that we needed the exercise. It was a good time.
We try to enjoy the small things together. We actually like to play mobile games together, catch up on series together. cooking together. So all these small things that we are able to do together. So we also try to be intentional about certain things, such as going out for a coffee date, for example. Usually we set a time to just go out and sit there, do nothing, no distractions, and to just talk.
And something that we decided to do, even entering the marriage, was really to keep, to establish and to keep family altar time. And it's a work in progress. Actually, we've tried maybe 3 or 4 different variants of it, but I guess for us, the intentionality and the setting aside of that time is really what helps us. And so whatever we do within that time is a continual experiment lah. But it's our time not only where we are in tune spiritually, but it is a time where we seek God together. And I think that has been really, really core. So our coffee time is for things like emotional connection, being on the same page, knowing what's happening in each other's lives. But that family altar time, it goes beyond that. That's spiritual resonance, to be able to seek God for the same things, to hear from Him the same things, and to pray about the same things, to be in the same heart and the same spirit for those kinds. So yeah.